Connor, what's good, man?
Doing well. Good to be out here.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe edition, just diving in. Once a year we get together and wanted to make an unedited video, in today's case, on the broader job market. I think, let's call it what it is, like everybody's favorite tech stock that they have some money in is down about 25% right now. A lot of fear in the market, and this isn't gonna be a blind, like everything's okay. Like there's a lot changing, but I don't know, at least from my vantage point, I see a lot of people maybe skeptical of a tech and tech sales career. Not going to blindly say, yes, it's the best career for you, but it's changing rapidly. Curious your thoughts on the topic, and we'll break it down.
Yeah, I mean, 25% might be generous. So I think a lot of portfolios are hurting. You see a lot of headlines. There's a lot of fear and hype. I think there's a lot of nuance to it. Like, I don't want to be clipped 5 years from now saying that all of it was overblown, but in my opinion, a lot of it is kind of fear mongering. And if you actually look at how much has changed in the last 4 years, really, since the advent of ChatGPT and this whole AI era, a lot of roles still look pretty similar. It hasn't played out like a lot of the people in 2022 talking about how SDR roles are going to be dead within a year. 4 years later, here we are. And yeah, we're starting to integrate AI into our workflows a bit, but for the most part, a lot of these roles are still the same. But at the same time, you got to stay on top of this stuff, because if you're not, I mean, eventually there is going to be a point where you are falling behind, and people who actually know how to leverage AI are going to thrive in this new era. So it's hard. I mean, it's easy. Like, I'm not going to act impervious. Sometimes I see headlines and I'm like, oh shit. And then I look into it and I'm like, all right, let's actually break this down. How much of this is actually going to change daily? Is this actually taking over jobs or responsibilities? The truth is going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think if there is one risk that maybe wasn't present 5 years ago, I think even more so than ever, it's getting at a nice to have company. Think anything dashboarding, anything that kind of like pulls lots of disparate information together. If it's not AI native, I could definitely break that down, but that's a huge risk. But I think on the other side of it, things like storage, database, data analytics, obviously your AI companies that are doing like really meaty work, not just AI wrappers on top of something. There's so much evergreen opportunity, and I think if you're on the forefront, it's insane. And like last thing I'd say on at least this point is, I know we've been poking around a lot with like Claude Cowork and how much we've already done there. There's no doubt that's disrupting a lot of workflows, but I think the individual rep right now, if you are in tech and tech sales, you are learning how to use AI on the forefront. Not only do I think, one, there's huge demand for people who are actually leveraging this correctly. The things you have access to, even in 2026 compared to last year, is insane at your fingertips if you know how to use it. Mm-hmm. So that value is going up. The individual rep value is going up as these other things like marketing, coding become more commoditized. But also I think, again, not that my doomsday scenario is like everyone's going to be out of job in 5 years, but if things rapidly progress, I think if you have the skill set of being able to leverage these incredibly powerful tools in a sales capacity, God forbid you lose your job, God forbid you want to pivot, like I have to stay focused right now, because my first thought with all of the AI going on and my sales skills is, dude, let me approach some businesses that have like a 1990s or early 2000s tech stack and overhaul everything for like $10,000 a month. Like that's where my mind is at right now. And my point being is, if you can get paid to learn all of that, I think it's still an incredible skill set, tons of demand. We're still seeing tons of people break in, but that was a long rant. I'll hand it to you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Speaking of the portfolios in the beginning, you almost have to treat the company you pick almost like you're picking a stock. You can't just take a job anywhere and not think about how is this company positioned. Because you're right, a lot of those nice to have companies, if you're just like a simple dashboard or like a little marketing widget that you integrate into some broader system or system of record, like yeah, there's probably some companies that aren't positioned well. So you want to be able to sleep well at night that your company is in a good spot and has a good trajectory moving forward. But I think a lot of people take one of two sides. Either you can be an AI opportunist or like a doomsdayer. I think the doomsdayer one is appealing, where it's like a lot of people, you sound smart when you say it. It's like, oh, AI is going to take over everything. We're going to hit super intelligence and AI is just going to be working all sales jobs. And it's like, yeah, you could take that route. I don't think you're going to be right. I think there's a low probability that happens, call it anytime in the next 10 to 15 years personally. But like if you're right, then you're screwed anyway. So you might as well be an opportunist, because chances are there's going to be a very long stretch period where it's people who actually know how to use AI and learn it and implement it to make themselves more effective salespeople that will make a lot of money, as a lot of companies need to buy AI tools and systems. Like someone's got to sell that stuff. Might as well be you. So cash in and make some money, and then we can worry 20 years down the line when there's AGI and super intelligence like taking over our jobs. So I would rather be an opportunist and be wrong than just be a doomsdayer and just sit here and you're basically resigning yourself to failure. It's like you kind of have to hope you're right at that point, because if you're a doomsdayer and then it turns out AI doesn't take all the jobs and there was actually a ton of money to be made, well, now you just sat there being a pessimist and didn't do anything about it and missed out on the opportunity. So you might as well be an optimist. And you don't, I think a mistake a lot of people make is they see all these LinkedIn posts and Claude Cowork and all this new stuff coming out, and they feel like if they're not automating their end-to-end workflows and using AI SDRs to do their jobs for them, that they're falling behind. We're still in a time period where if you are making basic GPTs or projects or gems for Gemini, whatever you use around core workflows that you do repeatedly and like saving you time, writing email templates, writing scripts, taking notes on discovery calls, you're ahead of 90% of the crowd, because most people have their head in the sand when it comes to this stuff. So it's like, you don't need to start by running the marathon. Start with a 3-mile run and then a 5-mile run and work your way up. It's the same thing with this stuff. So it's not hard to get ahead of the crowd. I mean, that's what we're here to do, is help you guys figure out how to actually implement this stuff as sales reps. But I'm very much on the opportunist side. I think we're going to look back 20 years and it's going to be one of those things where you kind of laugh at the people who were, I think this is just so obviously going to make all our lives so much better. And you already look back at stuff even 4 years ago where you're like, I can't believe I used to have to manually take notes on calls and draft the email afterwards and enter all the why us, why now, like in the Salesforce. It's like all that stuff is so easy now. So I think it's only going to get better and better personally.
No, I'm with you 100%. I mean, last month alone, I'm just thinking back on students that have reached out to me. We've done testimonials with like your Snowflakes, your Oracles, your Deals, Ramp, Rippling, like tons of students that are still breaking in. So just on like a yes or no, is the job market cooling down? I think there's still tons of opportunity. And like I said, even better. And also just adding some nuance and some flavor to this as well. I think it's like, especially if you're early in your career, or maybe you're transitioning and want to be a business owner in the future and or learn sales, have higher upside, all of these things, you get a front row seat if you're at the right company at how AI is like integrating into massive businesses. And like what an opportunity to get paid during your day job. And if you're ambitious, and I know tons of salespeople try to do things on the side, like you get a front row seat to see the biggest challenges that AI is trying to solve. And then on top of that, you have the luxury of being in the industry, being well versed in the tools, and being able to do things on the side like we talked about. I mean, it's insane. Literally yesterday, in about 30 minutes, I have a Claude Cowork automation that takes our YouTube videos and now makes it a blog post ready on our website with zero other effort. Like it's absolutely insane. So.
There's a huge opportunity for, this isn't, I'm speaking in generalities, but a lot of our audience is 35 and below. A lot of the people who need help and the ones who are running these sales orgs are above 35, and they're the ones who particularly, not all of them, like we have lots of them on our channel here, but a lot of them have their head in the sand and don't know what to do with AI. And if you can just become that AI expert within your org, again, not doing anything fancy, not automating entire workflows, but if you can share GPTs with your team and your org that do things like prep for discovery calls, cold call scripts, email templates, whatever your job is, you can really separate yourself, and you can see, like you said, you can get paid to figure out how businesses are using this and how you can add value. Because here's the other thing is, and I hope this calms a lot of people who have AI fear. You know who actually made one of the best points on this, I think, is, funny enough, is Ben Affleck on Joe Rogan's podcast. Because in that industry, they're talking about how like movie production and TV shows, everyone's going to get replaced because AI is just going to be able to spin that stuff up for basically zero cost. So why pay for all this stuff? And the point he made was that AI always will revert to the median. Like it's very easy to get a minimum viable product. It looks like a script, it looks like a movie, the characters look real, but it still requires that elite technical expert from like a movie production standpoint to finish that that's the hard part, finishing that last 5% to take the AI median, the AI slop, and use it to save time and turn it into a high quality output. It's the same thing in sales where it's really easy. Like a lot of leaders are thinking, oh, I can replace my SDR. Look how easy it is to draft email templates. Because yeah, it's easy to just say, hey, I work at XYZ company, write me an email template for, an HR director. And it looks like an email template. It looks clean. It's written grammatically correct. but it reads and sounds like AI. You need someone who's a top 10% producer who knows how to coach the AI and implement that nuance to all of these workflows. And that's your opportunity, is like the people who actually do this at a high level on a day-to-day basis are going to be the ones who know how to take AI, apply it, spread it to their organization, become that AI expert or subject matter expert. I don't know, there's just obviously so much opportunity with this stuff. I see it in my own day-to-day. I hope all of you start taking advantage of it, because yeah, a lot of the people who need the most help and are actually in charge of running these sales orgs are the ones who still barely know how to even prompt ChatGPT at this point.
Yeah. No, I'd say in closing on my side too, I can't get specific, but we have a very detailed engagement where someone alone, their first week as an SDR, set 4 meetings straight via cold call. No email, nothing. Yeah. Four meetings via cold call. I myself, this past week, cold called someone that we were in conversations with on an engagement. Cold called them, they picked up the phone, and they ended up signing that evening. So like in terms of the tactics, like yes, on some ways it's getting harder, but I would say one, personally, like I get 50 plus spam emails a day now, and I have maybe 2 people actually give me a genuine cold call per week. And 2, I would just say it's like, again, the what we teach here too has always kind of been at the framework level, and it always evolves. So it's like, go back to 2020, most SDRs were not even aware of how to build like detailed reporting in their CRM. And I still think 80+% don't even give enough of a shit to even try, quite frankly. And that's why our students do so well, is because you're just looking for the thing that gives you an edge. AI is not going to replace SDRs, like your point on the creative copy, how to actually connect with people and things of that nature. But the person who is codifying their work in GPTs, they're codifying their work in Claude Skills. They are using, if they have access, like the Claude HubSpot connector, and they're able to create extremely detailed reports, not only that other reps don't have, but maybe they're able to generate them faster, and literally that extra 4 hours back you're getting by having Claude automatically create those reports or whatever the case may be. That's your advantage as an SDR. And it's not that it's ever going away, but the tools, the leverage that you have is something you need to constantly reiterate, whether it's content like this or otherwise. Like, that is the thing I would be worried about with AI, is what are my peers doing that I'm not even aware of? Or what are things, if I even gave it 30 minutes a day in seat, with the tools that I have, with all the AI capabilities, if I blocked 30 minutes a day to try and do something with AI that I'm doing manually right now, could I get as good of a result or better if I had AI do it? And that's literally all it takes.
Everyone should be doing that. Yeah. 30 minutes a day, like learn, even 15, just play around, like learn, like practice making a GPT, play around with Claude. Again, it's like most people aren't doing this. It's not hard to get to be on the AI forefront. You don't need to be like, what's his name, Dario at Anthropic. Like, you don't need to be at that level. You just need to start testing with it, like playing around with it, codifying your workflows. One last point I'll make too on the cold call front, that might be a whole separate topic. I guess let us know if you want to see a video on that. I think that email is still going to be important, but I think cold calling going forward is going to be the most AI-proof form of prospecting. I think it's going to get more and more important. Most people don't know how to do it, don't want to do it. There's not as many people cold calling as you think, and it's something that is so far away. You can clip me on this. Like 10 years from now, I still think AI is going to be clueless when it comes to making cold calls. I also think there's risk that's of regulatory. I don't think people are going to want like AI bots cold calling, or at least it's going to have to present itself as AI. That's just a prediction, which is totally going to make it ineffective. So the human-to-human connection, knowing how to cold call for AEs, that would also be like going on site, stuff like that AI can't replace. You got to be figuring out which activities and things like that are going to be AI proof and become more important than ever. So I guess let us know if you want, follow-up video on that.
Yeah. Well, great stuff. I mean, again, it's, I think the people that are doing the things that, it's funny, like I feel like in times like this where the market's down, like, yes, there are bad companies, there are bad opportunities to avoid, to be very clear. But at the same time, like, it's crazy how much I even see in the comments and whatnot in the last month and a half, 2 months on TikTok, on YouTube, of like, oh, tech is going to zero, XYZ. This may be a bit dramatic, but all that to say, it's like, now's an even better time to kill it, because there's a lot of people that see a CNBC headline and then their goals and dreams of becoming a tech sales rep go because they're just playing scared. Like, if you're cold calling a hiring manager, if you're reaching out via LinkedIn, email, all those fundamentals, that stands out times 10. Maybe we'll cap it there if you have something else. I don't want to be...
You summarized it well. Go down swinging. The AI stuff is don't let yourself get scared out of it. It's going to be a big opportunity. So let's just lean in and figure out how to use it.
Yeah. Well, Lake Tahoe Edition Part 1, signing off.